Hello. In this video, I want to look at what we've shipped as part of the 3.0.0 release of the Chocolatey extension. Let's go ahead and jump in. So if we look at the release notes, the first thing I want to call out is that there has been a dependency change to this package. So the version 3.0.0 of Chocolatey extension now requires, at least as a minimum, Chocolatey CLI version 0.11.1. Okay, so that will be enforced at the point of installation, but it's just something to keep in mind as you are going through this. So there's a couple of breaking changes that I wanted to call out in this release. The first one is the package builder and package internalizer. We've made some major changes to there to ensure that any packages that are created using package builder or package internalizer, that they will only install on a correctly licensed endpoint. Okay, now there's lots of information about this in the blog post in terms of the reasoning behind it, what we're doing, why we're doing it, etc. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on that because I'll encourage you to go and look at that blog post, which is linked from the release notes here. But effectively, what's going to happen now is that if you create a package with package internalizer or package builder and you push that out to your internal repository, then any node that tries to install it will need to have as a minimum version 3.0.0 of the Chocolatey license extension installed. Otherwise, that package is not going to be successfully installed. Okay, that is to protect both us as a commercial entity, as well as you as a person consuming that, just to ensure that licenses and license counts are being correctly respected. What I will point out is that none of that is making a call home to Chocolatey in any way, shape, or form. We're just enforcing usage of a check in the Chocolatey CLI and the Chocolatey license extension to ensure that that's being met. That package that was installed or created with a newer version of Chocolatey, Chocolatey extension, is being installed on an equivalent version. Okay. More information about that in the blog post. I'll encourage you to take a look at that. The other breaking change is that there was an option for package internalizer that when you did the Choco download command, that it would make changes that were specifically for the for public option, meaning that you were internalizing that with a view to pushing it to a public repository. Given that we've now made these changes where package internalizer will only work on a correctly licensed node, then the need for the for public option went away. So again, that links off to the blog post. I encourage you to take a look at that some more and if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. In terms of features, big feature going out in this release, and that is Microsoft Intune integration with Chocolatey. So what you can do now is you can take a nupkeg. So let's imagine that you've internalized a package from the community repository. You can right click on that nupkeg and you can make an Intune win file, which you can then push to an Intune tenant within your environment. So it makes the creation and maintenance of Intune applications much quicker and much easier. I don't have a Intune tenant, so I can't show you that. But we do have some docs. So there's I'll link to some docs here that you can check out exactly what it does and how it does it. And if you also go over to our events page on chocolatey.org, so chocolatey.org/events, have a look through here, and there is, I think, a couple of videos on the Intune support that we now have within Chocolatey. So this one, for example, is Corey and Stevie talking through that and showing you how it can work. And I encourage you to take a look at that. Okay. If there's any feedback on any of that, again, feel free to reach out and we can see what we can do there. There's a few bug fixes that went out in this release, so I'll just go through the ones that I can, and if I can show you them, I will. Fix for PowerShell, set destination parameter for Chocolatey, get Chocolatey unzip to be required to match what is in Chocolatey CLI. Now, some of the commandlets that we have in Chocolatey CLI, when we bring them into Chocolatey license to provide additional kind of license functionality, we can, in essence, we kind of duplicate that commandlet. So there was a mismatch between what existed in the Chocolatey CLI version of that commandlet and what existed in the Chocolatey license extension version of it. So this bug fix was basically to bring them into line so that they worked in exactly the same way. There were a couple of fixes for package builder. Ensure the -- version option is ignored when using the Choco new command. There's good reason. So when you're using package builder, there's information on the license in the linked issue, but essentially, Chocolatey package builder will attempt to get the version number from the exe or the MSI, and if it can get it from there, then it should use that rather than the -- version command option that you can also pass in. And there was a mismatch in how that was handled, so that has been correctly fixed now, and you shouldn't see an issue when you're using the version option to the Choco new command. Ensure checksums are calculated correctly when doing both x86 and x64 URLs result in the same file name. So there was an edge case there where if you're using package builder and you're passing in both the x86 exe as an example and the x64 exe, if they result in the same file name, then the checksum for the second one doesn't match what it actually is. So it would be using the checksum from the 32-bit installer rather than the 64-bit installer. So there's some edge cases there that hadn't correctly identified when we first created that functionality, but that's been addressed in this release. There's a fix to package internalizer where we'd remove authenticate signatures when combining files. Now, one of the things that package internalizer does is that if you've got a package that has a number of PowerShell scripts, and potentially that those PowerShell scripts might dot source another PowerShell script, then what package internalizer does is it essentially creates one big script that includes everything, right? It's just easier from a maintenance point of view. Now, the problem there was that if one of those files was authenticode signed, then when it got combined into another file, that authenticode signature was then invalid. So what we do within package internalizer is if we are joining files together and those files are authenticode signed, we will remove the authenticode signature because it's no longer valid. Okay. Package builder UI, ensure that long file paths don't wrap within input text boxes. This was one I maybe can show you. So if I go to an exe, let's just use Choco as an example. So this will be in program data. That's not program data. If we go program data and we go to Chocolatey and we go to this one and we say create Chocolatey package, then within this package builder UI, if the path to a file was really long, it would essentially go off to the right hand side and you couldn't see the whole thing. So the properties of these input text boxes have been changed so that it wraps, so you can always see the full path to the file that you're using. So that's a small change, but just makes it for an easier usage of the application. So that's all that was. Improvements. Package builder, package internalizer, generated script should include validation of Chocolatey license. So again, that was a repetition of the breaking change, and a link off to the blog post. Again, more information on that. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. And in terms of PowerShell, there are a couple of improvements to say ensure that all commandlets are using consistent parameter names by using aliases. So over time, things in terms of Chocolatey commandlets, they've changed over time. So this was really just a fix up to make sure that all of the commandlets use consistent parameters both in Chocolatey CLI and Chocolatey license extension. So if there was a mismatch, we've added an alias to the parameter name so that you can use both things, you can use them consistently between both open source and Chocolatey license extension. And the last one there is support unzip location as an alias to the destination parameter in the get Chocolatey unzip function, matching with Chocolatey CLI. So again, making sure that the commandlets within the license side of things match the open source implementation. So that's it. Like I say, the reason that this was a 3.0 release, so a new major release, was because of the new functionality that we added in terms of the Intune integration. So definitely check that out. Read through the docs, go back to the webinar and rewatch that. It's an exciting addition to the Chocolatey functionality, and we're really looking forward to hearing the feedback on that. So that's all I've got for just now. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.